What's going on, guys? I have a lot of things that I want to talk to you about in this video. I want to give you kind of an update on how Katie and I are doing with everything that's kind of going on right now. But first, let's just jump right into the meat of the video, the reason that you clicked on this. 5 things that might surprise you about owning or driving a car in America. Now, I have not traveled abroad very much in my life, but I do have subscribers all over the world who watch my content. And when they see something that's strange or different, they leave a comment. They'll say things like, wow, I can't believe that you guys are allowed to do that modification. Why don't you have a front license plate on your car? Why don't they have diesel cars in the United States? So that actually might be a fun place to start, why there aren't diesel cars here. So the first thing that might surprise you is that diesel cars are a rarity here. Now, they do use diesel for like commercial shipping, the big trucks that you see on the highway, buses, and there's this sort of subculture of people who modify these diesel pickup trucks. But for just mainstream consumer cars, it just never really caught on here. Matter of fact, I wonder what the actual percentage is. Jamie, pull that up. Type in on Google, what is the percentage of diesel cars in the US? 3%? So only 3% of cars here are diesel. A lot of gas stations here, especially like in residential areas, they don't even sell diesel, and if they do, it's only like 1 or 2 of their gas pumps. And at any given time, diesel is about $1 a gallon more than gasoline. No manual cars. So whenever I've made a video about how to drive stick shift, a lot of people, especially from Europe, are just shocked that more Americans don't know how to drive stick. But the fact is, only about 4% of new cars being sold here come with manuals, and that number is actually shrinking every year. Because manual cars here are so uncommon, it's not really a skill that the average person needs, although I personally think that everybody should learn how to drive stick at some point in their life. But in general, it would be like going to a desert and being surprised that people don't know how to swim. Now, I'm surprised that even BMW, being a German company, is starting to move away from manual cars with their newer lineups. Vehicle inspection and regulation. So each of the 50 states in the US has really different laws and rules when it comes to driving and owning a car. Matter of fact, it's one of the more obvious differences between states. For example, some states like California are really strict when it comes to emissions testing and modifications, whereas other states like Michigan, where I live, there's no vehicle inspections and there's no emissions testing of any kind. This super loud exhaust that shakes the whole garage when we start the car, 100% legal in Michigan, no questions asked. This window tint on the front driver and passenger windows, illegal, police magnet, you'll get a big fine and you'll be asked to take it off. So what happens if you cross the border into another state? Well, the rules and laws only apply to the state that your car is actually registered in. So for example, if I were to go to somewhere like New York, I wouldn't get fined for not having a front license plate because in Michigan, where my car is registered, we don't use front license plates here. And there are other obscure laws too, like New Jersey, for example.
So the gas situation in New Jersey is they walk up to your window and they walk before you. I think Oregon is the other state that does it. But yeah, it's illegal to actually pump your own gas.
Car modifications. So the laws around car modifications vary from state to state, but overall I'd say that it's pretty relaxed. I've had comments from people saying that, hey, in my country we're not even allowed to change the tire size from what came from the factory. In most states, you can use whatever size wheel or tire you want. Now, there are some general guidelines, like you can't have the wheel like sticking out from the body of the car. Basically, when it starts to become a safety hazard to other pedestrians and drivers, that's when the laws really start to kick in. But for the most part, if you want to go from like a 225 to a 255 tire, or if you want to switch from run flats to non-run flats, nobody really cares too much about that stuff. Exhaust systems, again, it kind of varies from state to state. Where I live in Michigan, the rules are pretty relaxed. We're technically supposed to have catalytic converters, but since they don't do emissions testing or inspection, it's kind of hard to enforce that. But just as a general rule, like the more densely populated a state is, the more strict the rules tend to be. And lastly, the octane rating. So one of the biggest surprises that you'll see at the gas pump is that the octane numbers are actually a lot lower here than they are in places like Europe and just other parts of the world. And people have asked me, is the gas in the US really that bad? And I actually had to look into this, do some digging, and it turns out that in the US, we actually use a totally different octane rating system than a lot of other countries. So in the US, we use AKI, or anti-knock index, whereas in Europe and a lot of other places, they use RON, or research octane number. Does that mean that one type of fuel is better than the other? Not necessarily. It's just 2 different types of measurement. When in doubt, the recommended minimum octane rating is printed on the inside of your fuel door, and it's localized for whatever country you're in. So even on our imported cars, the BMW and the Subaru, Toyota, it has it listed in AKI, which is what we use here in the US. So to close out this video, I just want to give you guys an update with everything that's going on right now with the virus. So our governor just extended the lockdown, and it's even more serious now. They're closing off parts of stores that aren't, the food part, the groceries. They're closing off like the clothing department and that stuff. They really only want you to leave your house if it's absolutely necessary. So that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. Now, luckily, Katie and I live in a very, very small, kind of isolated town. It's not really a destination spot. In other words, you wouldn't be here unless you either lived or worked here. It's not a place where people just come to visit or hang out. So everyone here is pretty healthy so far. Katie and I are doing fine. Both of our parents are doing all right as I'm making this video. Katie has been allowed to work from home, thankfully, so her her income hasn't really changed at all. She actually works for a company that sells vitamins and things online. And so she's actually been getting a little bit more hours lately as they try to stay caught up with like customer service and things like that. I work from home anyway, so my life hasn't really changed too much, although I will say that everyone's YouTube ad revenue is way down right now. So you might be thinking, well, why is that? Everybody's home watching YouTube videos. The problem is, with everything being shut down, the economy and everything, companies are spending less on advertising on YouTube. So this isn't just me, it's like across the board. Everybody's YouTube ad revenue is going to be down for the foreseeable future. Now, I'm not saying that like to ask for sympathy or anything like that. I still make plenty on YouTube. We're not really worried with our finances or anything like that. Katie and I choose to live a financially conservative lifestyle. That's why, if you've ever wondered, I just put a post on Instagram yesterday, like if you're wondering why I haven't bought a really expensive car, or why I haven't upgraded to a newer M3 or something along those lines. To us, it's just really important to have this financial stability, especially in times like this. We're happy that we have an emergency fund, and if something does happen and my YouTube revenue goes to zero, we'll still be all right. Even if I lost my YouTube revenue and she lost her job, we would still be okay for a period of time. But that's the update. We're just trying to stay healthy. My heart goes out to those who have lost loved ones from the virus, and those of you who are facing some kind of financial uncertainty, whether it's unemployment, job loss. I just hope that we can all get through this together. But thanks for watching. I hope that you guys found this at least mildly entertaining, the part about what it's like to have a car in the US. Feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know what it's like to own a car in your country. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. One last thing, so a few people were asking about the garage and what the progress is looking like on that. So basically, since the lockdown, my dad hasn't been coming over, and this is like a project that he and I were doing together. Even though the garage is at a point now where it's just the finishing, like the sanding and painting, this is all stuff that I could do on my own. But since this is like something that me and my dad were working on together, it was kind of like an excuse for him to come over here once a week. So I don't want to just rush through it, like just for the sake of getting it done. I kind of want to wait until the lockdown is over so that my dad and I can have some time together. I did get my bike out of storage the other day, so I have that, something to cruise around on while I'm doing nothing. It's a Schwinn Stingray. I posted a picture of it on Instagram. It's like a bike from like 2004. I think they made these, but yeah, that's my bicycle. But anyway, that's the update on the garage. When this is all done, I'm gonna do like a full breakdown of how much everything costs. So look forward to that video at some point in the future. But yeah.